Today I'm going to show you how to use the table and how to adjust the window a little bit to make it look like the right thing when you are using Desmos to graph. So let's start by just graphing something. So let's say I graph y equals, I'm going to make it kind of big, 35x squared plus 40x. And let's say like minus 55, right? So just something. And right now it doesn't look too good, but that's okay. So here's just a simple parabola, 35x squared, 40x minus 55, and say we wanted to evaluate it. So I'm going to put a table of values in. By default, you can see it comes like -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, but maybe that's not the values we want. Maybe we want to know 5 and 8 and 0. And notice it's dropping the other ones down, so I could write on top of it if I wanted to. I could look at some bigger numbers like 20. So I have lots of things that I can do here just by typing. And notice I'm not having to evaluate the function. I'm not having to put in 35 times 5 squared plus 40 times 5 minus that 55 I had. It's doing it for me, which I really like. And it's super nice because if I had like a fraction, I can just put that in there too, and I'm not having to worry about how that works. So that's really nice. And it was just by hitting this little gear and it said make a table, right? So that's all we had to do. So that's in there. Let's work on this picture really quick. And again, I just picked kind of at random what I was going to look at. So here's what I want us to see is let's make this look a little better than just these two almost vertical lines. So I'm going to go over to the settings, and what I want to do is I want to change the settings, and mostly what you can tell are these values are really different than what I'm seeing, which I'm going from -8 to 8. So you have to decide how you would like to scale it, and that's probably the biggest deal is the scale here. So the x-axis right now it says -10 to 10, the y shows it's -8 to 8. But the stepping is like maybe I put by 1, so that's going to do the tick marks for that. And then the y's, I can see these really big and small values here. So I'm going to change this. Maybe we'll pick something nice like -200. And then immediately, did you see it jump? Right? Now I have the picture in of what I should see. And I don't know, let's not make it too crazy. Let's go to +200, so I'll make it kind of even. And then the step, see how it adjusted it to 50s? That's fine. You may want to say you want to go by 25s. That's going to help you a lot when you go to graph. So it's almost like you're just, you're picking the zoom that you're going to have happen. So hitting the plus and minus, it doesn't see that you wanted to see maybe the vertex down here. So it's really good to change these settings by going to this wrench, telling it the step that you want, and the window that you want. Once you have it, if you want to adjust it, you can still move it around. You can still zoom in and zoom out with your mouse, but it'll keep those tick marks. And I find like those tick marks are the thing that really make it better, so that scale is in there that you want to see. Sometimes you want to see it really big. Sometimes you want to see it really small. So let's just try another one real quick. Actually, I'm just going to go to a whole new page. So let's go to a whole new blank page. And let's say I wanted to graph something like y equals x divided by x squared plus 1. Okay, and see how this one's really small? So maybe I would like to come in tighter on that one. And so on here, maybe I say I want the step to be 0.25. And maybe I want to do the same thing here, make it 0.25. So I have to push enter. And then you can see my values came in. Now that didn't come in as good, like, so maybe I want to make the y's really smaller, like maybe I want it to go from -1 to 1. And now look at that big difference where I really see these extremes on there. So it's kind of a combination of telling the step I want, which was 0.25, but also saying the high and the low I want. So you can see on here that high only went up to 0.5, so maybe I want to change it from -0.5 to +0.5, and that's just a bigger zoom. And you can see that really looks extreme. And then again, you still have your mouse to use if you want to, but it just refocuses the window, but it's all from hitting this little wrench. At first, I think you are going to have to do a little bit of trial and error, and that's good. That teaches you a lot. But then later, you can, you might know a lot more. If you wanted to too, and you were trying to figure out like what numbers to use, sometimes again, we could go back and say, let's make a table. By doing the table, you may get some indication of what the values look like, and then you're pointed in the right direction. So you know, like, oh, all these numbers, no matter what I'm putting in, aren't getting very big, and that kind of directs you into what I should pick. Also, really like that the numbers that you put on the table immediately show up as points on your graph too. So if you really want to see those points, you can see them.